Welcome to Boomers on Travel. Yes, you can enjoy travel to foreign and exotic destinations, even if you're a boomer on a tight budget. Here are your hosts, Irene and Mike. Now, let's talk travel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Boomers on Travel. I am Irene, and I am half the partnership.
Of Mike, who's the other partner. Irene's the planner. She's a strategist. I'm the guy that carries the bags. And I'm 70 years old, and I'll tell you, those bags are getting heavy. So I've been on Irene for years saying downsize, downsize, downsize.
Well, we slightly downsized on this last trip. We've been traveling for years together, Mike and I, and we wanted to tell you about our most recent experience. In 2017, we had the opportunity to travel from Lisbon, Portugal to Barbados transatlantic with no stops in between.
And the name of the ship was a Windstar. Well, the Windstar line was a Windstar Breeze. The Windstar Breeze weighed around 9,800 ton, I think. Now, compare that to some of the newer ships that are into like the 140 to 160,000, I believe, tonnage. So you're talking a ship maybe at a 16th or 15th the size of a large ship.
Also, we had only 93 passengers, where normally on the ships that we had gone transatlantic prior had 2,000 and up to 4,000. So this was a very intimate experience with 93 passengers and 123 crew. Mike had the opportunity to interview some of our fellow passengers who were kind enough to share their traveling experiences with him and also their impressions of the Windstar.
Sean, let me get the impressions of the Windstar. What do you feel about this ship? Is this your first Windstar trip?
It is my first, yes.
And what did you've been on, obviously, on previous cruises?
Yeah, the larger cruise ships, I've been on a number of those, and it's a world of difference because of the size and the lack of crowds and the more personal service and the more leisurely setting. You know, it's not packed in here and there everywhere you go with people waiting to get into the restaurant, waiting to get into the theater room because it's just such a big number of people on those big cruise ships. This is just like, you know, almost getting down to like a private yacht size.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And you feel, you know, the cabins are the average cabin in here. They're all suites.
Yes, yes.
So you're getting a lot more room. You get a full bathtub. You know, every suite has ocean view or balcony, but big window in the lower level.
Yeah, it's the first cruise ship I've ever been on. Been a lot of the big ones where you got a walk-in closet.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
true, very
yeah,
true.
You got a walk-in closet. My wife says, "Oh my gosh, look at this bathtub." She loves bathtubs.
Yeah.
So this was fantastic for her. But you know, we've been on numerous large ships, and I think the food you just can't compare the food. Can you?
Oh my God, yeah, the food itself
just can't
was
compare it.
just exquisite. Every meal, every morsel of food that you got was like, wow.
Yeah, it was.
The choices were unbelievable.
Yes.
The presentation was fabulous, and again, you know, it was relaxed dining.
Yes, it was.
Everywhere. There's not like you're in a lineup to get your food. You just wander over if they did have a buffet, and there's nobody in front of you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yesterday I got Irene was down the cabin, so they were doing like fajitas, and one of the crew standing there. I said, "Where can I get some potato chips?" And he says, "I'll be right back." And he had a big smile on his face. He took off, come back, had a great big bowl of potato chips, covered. I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, this is the little stuff they do. It's amazing, and they take. And I think they actually enjoy doing things for the passengers, don't you? I get that feeling from the crew.
You do really get that they're enjoying themselves and that they care.
Yeah.
And you know, you get a little conversation at times too, and they have an extra minute or two, and you learn something about their life, and they learn a few things about ours as well, and it makes it more personal for sure.
Yeah, to express it. But, you know, after being on so many cruises, and I said this before, you know, you get to know your room steward a little bit. You know, you see them in passing.
Yeah.
They got a lot of cabins, it's a huge ship. But to me, it's nice when you talk to these, like you say, you get a little time to talk to the crew members and stuff, and you treat each other like equals. And I really like that.
Me
too.
Yeah.
I like that feeling, and they're a friend, but they're a friend. They're not just, somebody there to serve you. You can have a nice conversation with them, and you share pictures. One of the crew yesterday was telling me about her 13-year-old German Shepherd. Her dad's watching it. Yeah, Bob, you listen to that. And she said, my dog's blind, and Bob and I were going, oh, She was telling me how much her dad loved it, and how much they took care of it, how much that dog meant to her. And yeah, it was amazing.
Got a special halo on its head, because it's bumping into something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Just a loving dog. A young German Shepherd.
Neat.
Yeah, so it's, I guess all these little experiences, and, I don't miss I don't know, I haven't even been in the pool here. I haven't even been in the hot tub.
Oh, well, I've been in the lap pool and, really found that enjoyable too.
Yeah.
No,
They lay out.
yeah, you get, some of the crew are more friendly and more open than others in a sense, but numerous crew I've been high-fiving.
Yeah.
And including, we meet the captain here, there, and he's wandering around the ship, and he's very personable, and I've never seen a captain that I've gotten to talk to in any of those cruise ships.
Either have I.
You see them and they're gone this direction, and they never stop to say hello.
I was telling Bob, I think it was yesterday, that I was going in to grab a cup of coffee to go, and the captain just happened to be walking that way. I said, "Good morning, Captain." He says, "Good morning, Mike." And I'm saying to myself, how does he?
Yeah.
Hey, who am I? This is really interesting. And the whole cruise
and
like that.
What's amazed me too, Mike, is how many of the crew remember a lot of our names, if not all.
Oh, I know.
And they're first naming us like, how the heck do they do that?
Yeah, do they have to take
100 people on here that they've only never seen before.
I know.
And they've got them all down pat.
And I was talking to one of the officers on the ship, and he's worked for, he's worked for a lot of larger cruise lines. And I got telling him, I said, one thing that really impresses me about your crew, it's not that I got to do it, but I want to do it,
Yeah.
And they got that attitude. And he said, even below decks, when they all get together, they all kind of sit together. It's not that hierarchy, where the larger ships, you got all these officers, officers land and all that. And he said that they all just really intermingle.
Yeah.
And I think that brings a lot of good feelings to the crew.
Yeah. It's a human respect for people at all levels of the working
exactly.
Staff on the...
And I've talked to some people said they'll never do another cruise but Windstar. So
I've heard that too, yeah.
I've heard that a few times,
And, you get what you pay for on these cruises to quite a degree. You can get some good deals here and there. But, I'd like to show small ship cruising more if I could too, and afford to do this level of...
if you think about that, they've got 5 or 6 ships. And if they're all full, you would have half of the passengers of a large cruise ship.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's a good analogy there. Exactly, yeah. And, they'd have some nice itineraries, of course,
too.
Do. And so you got a lot of
Right.
choices with just this cruise company. And then there's
Right.
a couple of other small cruise ship lines, not
Right.
too many of them, but there's
There's
Paul Gauguin,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then there's the Windjammer, and so on. And I guess some of those big cruise ship companies, like Celebrity, they've got another line called Azamara.
Yeah, I've heard of
I think
Azamara.
it's about 700 or something passengers, because it's a little more personal on that level even, and it's
Right.
higher caliber of everything.
Right.
And I'd like to try that for sure.
I would too.
Avoid these giant cruise ships. I don't want to go on the 5,000 passenger
Oh, no,
ones.
I don't either.
I've seen them, and they look like god-awful, massive 12, 15-story hotels.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how they float, I don't even know.
14, 15 decks, they're amazing.
And a real treat, that's for sure.
I'd like to go on one. I haven't been on one yet use the sports platform. I bet you be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, and this one has it, but of course we're not stopping. But yeah, that'd be excellent.
I know some of the passengers said, "Why can't we just stop for a couple hours, put the sports platform down?"
Yeah.
My luck, you see Jaws come by or something.
Yeah.
They couldn't take a chance.
No, they couldn't take a chance. Too much liability out here in the middle of the ocean, isn't there? But gosh, it's been great meeting you guys. We've had a really good time on this cruise. It's just, it's almost like a family. It really is.
Yeah.
I think we've been around 18. I think we've done 16 or 17 transatlantics.
Oh,
and 2 others.
That number transatlantic.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we've always used it for like one-way transportation to Europe. fly one way and take a cruise the other way.
Ah.
But I got to say this has been my favorite, and to a degree, yeah. One of my favorites, because it's just, just a lot going on in the world right now. Just gives you a chance to disconnect from social media and everything.
Very true, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully maybe we can do this again next year, another time, another one.
Yeah, I'd love to do this again on a regular basis like you guys have done. And yeah, been a pleasure. And
Thank you. Thank you
I
much.
look forward to crossing paths somewhere again.
That's right. I'm sure we will.
Back on the road again.
Okay, we're back with Boomers on Travel, and we have Robert, Bob,
Bob, yeah.
Bob, now what's your last name?
Bob Cummings.
Bob Cummings. And Bob's on the Windstar with us today doing a transatlantic, and he's quite a traveler. And Bob, you've been doing these walks. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do and how they originated?
Well, I got interested in them in the early 2000s, and finally had the time. No more job commitments, and I looked into it more, and I started traveling. The first walk was from southern France to Santiago de Compostela, and it was around 500 miles long, and I just loved it. I loved the interaction with the people, the scenery, the countryside, and went back home, and a year or so later I decided to do another one. This one was the silver route, called the Via de la Plata, and it was from Seville to Santiago de Compostela, and it was about 800 miles long. Anyway, these walks are made up of places to stay, and they began with they were called pilgrimages, and priests and monks would travel these routes in the Middle Ages, and it was to honor the Saint James the Apostle, who was entombed in the Santiago de Compostela Cathedral. And they went on, and anyway, they turned into modern day pilgrimages, and they were carried out with settings or albergues where you would stay, a traveler would stay overnight. And there's a network of these albergues on each of the routes, and they're say anywhere from 20 to 30 kilometers long roughly, and you'd travel with your pack, and there'd be beds provided in each albergue, as well as cooking facilities.
Now, are these pilgrimages that you go on, Bob? Are they organized? I mean, can you just show up, or do you need to pre-plan? And is there others that go with you, or?
You can go alone or in groups.
Uh-huh.
And you just show up at at St. John Pied de Port in southern France. There was a pilgrimage place there where you got a certificate, and this is a fold-out certificate that was stamped at each stop.
Oh, wow.
And so that when you got to Santiago de Compostela, you could get a certificate saying you'd done the pilgrimage. And it was stamped all along the way at the different albergues. Also, restaurants and different places to eat had stamps too, to prove, this is a way of proving that you'd actually done the whole thing. Well, in fact, I guess they're fairly lenient. I guess they want participation, and you can join in, I think, up to 150 to 200 miles in advance of Santiago and still get your certificate.
I know, like in the U.S., we have, one of the most popular, I think, things that might compare to that be our Appalachian Trail. And I know people, I was just fortunate to live on Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, which was halfway down the Appalachian Trail. And I know people that had, especially people that worked and things like that, they would, it was quite long. It went from Maine all the way down to Georgia. So somebody might do that over a period of 10 years. You know what I'm saying? They would do so much, they take a week or two in the summertime and walk it. Are they like, say you go to Europe, say you go to a certain country or wherever you're, well, especially being American, and you're retired or whatever, and you want to do this, Are some of those quite lengthy where you might do those in portions or?
Yes. I've heard of Europeans will take their summer 2 weeks holidays and they normally start and they'll do the first couple of hundred or 100 or so miles, and then they'll go home again. And then the next summer they'll come back and pick up where they left off until they complete.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
and you get to see a lot of the country and meet people, and you get a
Yes.
whole different experience than say
Yes.
going on a bus, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's so much
Oh, yeah,
difference. I mean,
yeah.
you just.
Yeah.
What do you feel like? I mean, do you feel like you're?
It's a great sense of accomplishment, and it's almost a euphoric thing when you're walking and you're thinking, and you think about events all through your life, and you wonder if it really gives you that chance to stop and think, where have I been, and where am I heading in life, and you'll think about a lot of things that you never do in your common day-to-day activities.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
you'll go back with a whole new meaning in your life.
It's almost like recharging the old batteries,
That's
isn't
exactly it.
it? And that's what I think Windstar does with this 14-day transatlantic. I mean,
Yeah.
you sit back. I mean, you're there. You're sitting
Yeah.
there, and there's really nothing clouding your head, and
Yeah.
you do a lot of reflection and say, where have I
Yeah.
been? Where am I going? What do I really value in life? I mean,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. comes out,
Exactly.
doesn't
Well, this whole trip we're on right now started with my friend Sean Pegg, and he called me up and said, "Hey, I want to take a cruise. There's a cruise from Lisbon to repositioning cruise, they call them, to Barbados." And he said that it's a good opportunity and good price. And I said, well, I've always wanted to do a Portuguese Camino, the Portuguese Camino from Porto to Santiago.
Right.
And it's about, and now again being Canadian, I think in kilometers a lot. And it's 250 kilometers long.
Right.
So so he said, well, sure, I've always wanted to. So away we went.
Wow. Bob, I'd like to continue this later with you. This is great. And folks out there who listen to this podcast, I'm sorry for the background noise, but hey, we're on the
That's
cruise
great,
ship. What
yeah.
can we say,
That's what
right?
it's all about.
That's what it's all about. We're all we're all being covered with all this conversation and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's really wonderful. Bob, thank you. I'm going to catch
you're
up with you and do a little bit more on this.
Sure.
Thank you. Grant, I wanted to ask you about the swim platform. Obviously, we're not going to do it out here in the middle of the Atlantic, but you said you've been to Portofino and all these places.
Well, it's one of the best things about the ship, because my last cruise was, we stopped in Portofino, Cannes. They lower the platform, you just go swimming. Even in October it was warm. And kayaks and water skiing if you want.
How do you water ski?
They have a speedboat. I didn't water ski, but they you just sit on the back deck and ski off the back.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's and you can kayak, but if you go too far away, they'll chase you and bring you back.
Oh, okay.
But I was in the water probably 2 hours each day swimming off the
Oh,
platform.
wow.
And
Now, can you snorkel and stuff like that too, or is it
it's
just...
too deep. Well, you're out there at 30 meters.
Oh,
depth,
okay.
but-
Yeah, so you don't do that
But it's
much.
and they float these big paths out there, 25-foot long floating paths, and you climb up on them and swim. And
Can you drink wine on it?
you can do that, but it's one of the best things about the ships.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. That's a big selling point then to it.
And
Then.
that's the reason I'm staying on another week, because the Caribbean, they drop it every day.
Oh, do
The
they?
swim platform.
Gosh.
And
Yeah,
what they should do is stop out here for a day and just lower it. But
that'd be pretty good,
I suggested that to the captain, but they're not sure. We don't see too much marine life out here, but we might if we're
We
swimming.
might, right? You might see that big fin come by, right?
Right,
That
so-
might not be very
Better
fun.
safe than sorry.
Yes. Gosh. Yeah, the ship is so multifaceted, isn't it? I seen they have a pool. I haven't been in the pool, but I don't really have a desire. I don't miss the pool.
The swim platform is really something, because the big ships
Yeah.
don't have it.
No, they don't have
And
nothing like that.
there's nothing like it.
No. So to you, for Windstar, that's a real major selling point. Is having
Oh, of course,
the,
yeah. And
the swim platform.
I choose itineraries that anchor rather than go to ports, because
Yeah.
if you anchor, they lower them, not on the ports.
Yeah. Wow. And that's another thing, I guess, about these ships is they can get into smaller ports, so forth.
Yeah. So next week there's 7 stops and 5 are anchoring, and they'll have the
Okay.
swim platform down.
Oh, wow.
So that makes a difference.
Gosh. Well, we're getting off in Barbados, but I wish we were staying on for another week, that sounds like a lot of fun to me. You know. So, well, thank you, Grant, and
Well, thanks, Mike.
Mike, that sure was fun listening to Sean, Bob, and Grant. What great interviews and what great information. I can't wait to go on our next trip. I think I know where you want to go, Mike.
I know you do. I know you do. But you know, they got some great. I know you want to do the French Riviera, and you know I want to do Monaco. Monaco is a dream of mine. I love following the Grand Prix, and that's like the place. It's almost like our Daytona. And I think back about Sterling Moss and Jackie Stewart, and all those heroes that have done Monaco. I love the thought of it. I just can't wait someday to do that. But I got to find the big piggy bank first before we do that one.
Well, we sure do have a lot of things to offer in our next segment. We have a lot of things to cover. One of the things I think some people might be interested in is, what do you do with the pets when you go away? I mean, that's always a struggle. Do we board them? Do we take them to grandma's house or one of the kids' houses, us boomers? I mean, we want to travel, but we also love our animals. Well, Mike and I have a solution for you. So that'll probably be in one of our future podcasts coming up.
Yes, we've had some really good. We got a couple really, really good options for people with pets. Matter of fact, even one of our fellow boomers who travels a lot, named Jim. Of course, that's the guy that hangs out with the naked parrot. But hey, that's another story onto its own.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
Pets are a huge concern, and you know we love them. They're part of our family, so we need to make things for them.
Right, and we also have other options, lots of good options, how to travel Europe on a real budget, how to get fabulous homes and not have it cost you a penny. And Mike and I have actually done these things, and it's really worked well for us. So we can't wait to share these tips with you in the future.
Oh, I love budget travel, especially when all the euros and all the greenbacks and all the yen and stuff like that can stay asleep in my wallet, and I don't have to take them out.
Oh, I know, and I could spend more money on great meals when I'm over there.
Oh my gosh, I guess, when Irene and I were doing this segment, Irene says, this sounds like a big commercial for Windstar. Well, in actuality, I guess it is, because we had such a wonderful time. And what we're going to do here on Boomers on Travel, when we find a deal where we think that's something that you'd really be interested in, we're going to promote them. We're going to promote them. And I guess it is a commercial for Windstar, but we didn't get no money for it. We didn't get no compensation. But there is one thing Windstar could do for us, though, I think. If they happen to listen to this podcast and so forth, how about Windstar management up there? How about sending that down to the Breeze, the crew, the captain, the crew of the Breeze, and let them know.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Mike.
let them know how we feel about
that. Well, they would just only do that, because we had the most marvelous time on the Windstar Breeze, and the crew was so fabulous, and everything was great. So I hope that they'll do that for us.
Yeah, I hope they do, because I don't know where they are right now. It's in the middle of the week. They're somewhere in the Caribbean or Panama or something. And next week they're going to have a new bunch of passengers. But the thing is, Windstar crew, that you do a lot, and you make people's dreams come true. And I guess that's it. As Bob said in the segment, it's almost euphoric, and I guess I'm getting too euphoric. So I better stop right here. Do you want to wind it up, Irene, for us
today?
Well,
I guess we're going to hope that everybody joins us for our next podcast. We hope that you really enjoyed the information that we put out there today. And until then, I just want to say, bon voyage. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Boomers on Travel thanks you for being a part of our growing travel family. Join us next week for Travel Talk, focused on value and exciting travel destinations.